Welcome, beautiful Paris Saint-Germain family to the season review. The season has officially ended. I obviously did like a review-ish after the Champions League, but now that the Club World Cup has finished off as well, let's do a full recap on the season. And what a roller coaster of a season it has been. I mean, this is definitely the greatest season in Paris Saint-Germain history. Winning everything in France. We've done that a couple of times in our history. Didn't do it before Lucho came in. I think the last time before that was maybe 1920 when we went to the Champions League final. And then both in the league and in the Champions League, we didn't perform up to expectations. Luis Enrique's first year, won everything in France, got to the UCL semi. So we knew what the goal was going into the season: replicate what we did in France and win the Champions League, win this club's first Champions League, and transfer window wise, João Neves, Desiree Doué, Matveev, Safanov, and William Pacho. All four of them very impactful. Like Safanov, for being a backup keeper, still had a very impactful season. João Neves, what a season. William Pacho, Desiree Doué. What a season all three players had. Extremely impactful in the success that Paris Saint-Germain had over the season. When it came to the league, obviously Marseille was strengthening. They got in Deserbe and everything. And obviously, people wanted to make maybe Marseille, maybe cheeky Marseille. But when it came to Ligue 1, I mean, come on. Especially, because Mbappe left and people had this imagination, this idea that Mbappe was carrying PSG and Mbappe is so good that Mbappe. No, that's not Mbappe. That's not Mbappe. I mean, Dembele, the issue with Dembele, he played a little bit less games. But Mbappe, Dembele had I think Mbappe only has one Ligue 1 season with a better non-penalty goals rate. And that was in 18-19. And that's like the second best non-penalty league goal rate ever. Only Messi has higher than Mbappe. Even higher than Cristiano Ronaldo's best all time. Which just shows what a season Ousmane Dembele had in the league. But it also shows that we never missed Mbappe. I wanted Mbappe out because I knew we would get better. And when it came to the league, I mean, it was cheeky. It was cheeky. Took over the league, won the league. Won it quite early, I think potentially 8 to 9 match weeks. And obviously when it came to the unbeaten, we nearly went unbeaten. Couldn't finish it off, unfortunately. But we were really close. Maybe that's a goal for next season. Let's see how it goes. Then obviously we broke the record for consecutive away league unbeaten streak in Europe's top 5 leagues. That's a record that will be holding, I think, forever, for a very long time. I don't see a club getting to that record because we beat AC Milan's record from the 80s, the 90s or something. So this is not something other clubs have come close to. So when it came to Liga, it was a really great season. Dominated the Liga team of the season as well. Gianluigi Donnarumma, Nuno Mendes, Achraf Hakimi, Marquinhos, I think Pacho as well, João Neves, Desiree Doué, Ousmane Dembélé, Bradley Barcola, Vitinha. It was a complete domination. From Paris Saint-Germain in the league this season, deservedly won all the awards. Ousmane Dembélé obviously winning player of the season. Desiree Doué winning young player of the year. I think he should have gone to João Neves. Probably goes for the same for the Club World Cup, obviously. Gianluigi Donnarumma winning goalkeeper of the year. And that finished basically off the league. Won it in beautiful fashion. Could have gone unbeaten. We could have done it, but we were focusing on the Champions League, which was the bigger goal. After that, cheeky Trophée du Champion in January up against AS Monaco. And that's when Paris Saint-Germain started rolling the wheel. And it's always great winning a trophy early, middle of the season in January. And that's exactly what Paris Saint-Germain did. Ousmane Dembélé getting the goal, man of the match. First trophy for Paris Saint-Germain in the season. Grew. The confidence grew in the squad. It was a great performance by Paris Saint-Germain. We should have won it by more than 1-0 in the last minute from Dembouz, but beautiful performance and another trophy. Coupe de France, compare this Coupe de France to last season. Last season we played Lille, then Lyon in the final. This season it was Dunkirk in the semi-final and then Stade de Rennes in the Coupe de France final. So as competitiveness, it was not competitive. And that was not due to us or the league or anything. It was just the other top Ligue 1 teams. They were getting cooked. Lyon got knocked out early, Marseille, Lille, everyone. So it was a really easy Coupe de France for Paris Saint-Germain. Got 3-0 victory in the final. Great performance from Bradley Barcola, from what I remember. And that's basically the Coupe de France. And that's the domestic trouble done for Paris Saint-Germain. Now, guys, the Champions League, the big talking point for the season. And Paris Saint-Germain started it off so bad, man. So bad, so bad. I want to put myself in that situation and feel like how I was feeling, but it's basically impossible. That's how bad we felt during the beginning of the UCL. First game, obviously, Girona. I predicted, we should smack these guys. And I watched one of the most disgusting performances in the entire history of human history, mankind. Now we're talking about Paris Saint-Germain, the rotations, how the ball is moving, the movement and everything. You go and watch that Girona game. There was no movement. There was no rotation. It was fucking filth. Filth. Nuno Mendes. Important goal. Obviously counts as an own goal for Gazaniga. But we take it. And he also included that infamous Ousmane Dembélé miss. Going into the second game, Arsenal at the Emirates. And I was like, yes, Premier League team. Girona game wasn't that good. And I was like, that was just like a Fugazi purple patch, right? Even though I put Lucho on fraud alert after that Girona game. Arsenal game starts off horribly with Luis Enrique and Dembélé having a dispute, and Dembélé getting not being able to participate in that game. It was a woeful performance at the Emirates. Woeful. I was completely embarrassed. That was one of the most embarrassing defeats in the club's history. It was like we did better than nothing, and it was against Arsenal. After that, we thought it would stop coming up against PSV, but once again, Ousmane Dembélé had some other plans. Missed 2 big chances, gave away the ball. Noah Lang scores. We keep pushing. Hakimi gets the goal. And the game ends in a draw. So after 3 games, we're sitting on 4 points, which is not the worst. But we were facing PSV and Girona, 2 of the easier teams in our 8 out of the 8 games that we're going to play. And it was not convincing. The Girona game and PSV game was not convincing. And then that 2-0 defeat to Arsenal. So we're like, we got to bring it back. Atletico Madrid. And I said, Luis Enrique was on complete fraud watch. Because if you go back and watch those games, it was not the same PSG. It was not the same PSG. Absolutely not. And what happens? Well, start off great. Get a goal. Atletico get a goal 2 minutes after that, and then we're back to basically doing absolutely nothing for the rest of the game. Then we muster up some chances towards the end of the game, completely open at the back. Atletico Madrid get a counter-attack, goal, pop. And I was like, I'm happy this has happened because now I can say I'm Lucho out. That's how I felt. And do I regret that? No, because that was my opinion at that moment. The football that we had played in those 5 games, the quotes I was reading from Luis Enrique, the tactics that he was playing, the entire team not believing in Luis Enrique, and the feeling that he was restricting them, how they wanted to play. And yeah, that's how I felt then. Then came the Bayern game, and we tried to be confident. But we still lost to a disgusting Kim Min-jae header, and the referee obviously gave one of the most disgusting red cards to Ousmane Dembélé that game. We're sitting on 5 games. 2 goals scored, 3 goals scored, and 4 points. And at that moment, a lot of people actually believe we will get grouped. The previous year, we were close to get grouped. This year, even closer. First year, it was Neymar, Messi-less PSG. This time, it was Mbappé-less PSG. A lot of fingers were pointing at a early Champions League exit. But that's when the team finally came together. Luis Enrique ditched, I don't know, whatever he was telling the players. And the players started manning up as well. And that's when the Paris Saint-Germain season started. In the UCL. First game, Salzburg away. Cheeky 3-0. Barcola man of the match. But it was Salzburg. I mean, we had, not performed the best versus PSV and Girona, but Salzburg worse than both of those teams. But we got the 3-0 win. 3 goals, a clean sheet. Good for the goal difference. Then came the big game versus City. And during that time, we had great form in the league. And as I mentioned before, the Trophée du Champion victory and everything. We played versus City. Dembouz obviously was not 100% fit, so couldn't start the game. And we had a performance-wise, performed really well in the first half, but we didn't create that many chances. We obviously had a goal that was disallowed for offside. Come out of in the second half, City just get 2 goals out of nothing. No momentum, nothing. First one individual mistake from Nuno, second one individual mistake from Marquinhos. And that's when it comes to my opinions about Paris Saint-Germain, that's the only time I don't regret, because that's exactly how I felt. My job is to express myself, my opinion, but I regret feeling that way, if I can say that. Because I said, yeah, I'm tired with this. I'm just tired. Get Lucha out and everything. And that was, after we had like a 2-3 month great period in the league and everything. The performances were going up. And I was confident going into that City game as well. City were not that strong as well. But then the magic happened. Barcola, Dembouz, do it, Barcola. And we suddenly back into the game. And that's when the belief, the faith came in. Vitinha, João Neves, Gonçalo Ramos ends the game for Paris Saint-Germain 4-2. And when that happened, we're like, yeah, we're going to go through. Because we had Stuttgart left. Is that it? Only has Stuttgart left? I believe so. And yeah, we knew we would get the job done. Then Bouz goes there, scores a hat-trick. A beautiful hat-trick. May I remind you all. We go into the knockout stages, facing Brest. It was either Monaco or Brest. We faced Brest, smacked them up. First game 3-0, and second game it was an endurable game, 7-0. The most irritating thing about that game was the people trolling us for winning 7-0. It was like, it don't matter. And I was like, you've also played some shit teams. Where's your 7-0? That's when the haters started. They were like, this PSG team is actually good, 7-0. In a UCL knockout game? I know it's round of 32, but still, 7-0. No other team did that. And that's when, the confidence just went up and up. And then we were set to face either Liverpool or Barca. We got Liverpool. I wanted Liverpool. That was the matchup I thought that we would get as well. I was like, we're going to face Barca in the final. That was my prediction since the beginning of the season, but obviously, Barca fucked my prediction up, unfortunately. Liverpool game comes. First game in. I'm really confident, but I know that Liverpool are going to be strong. But Paris Saint-Germain absolutely humiliate Liverpool. But unfortunately, cannot put the ball into the net. Harvey Elliott gets the goal, 1-0. But I said it, we went into the Anfield game more confident than we went into the first leg because of that majestic performance. We knew this team was great. But when we saw that first Liverpool performance, we're like, this team's actually insane. Went to Anfield, got the Dembouz goal early on. It was a very, very tough game for the Paris Saint-Germain players, going all the way to extra time. And Gianluigi Donnarumma steps up, obviously with the goal scorers, and Desiree Doué, Ousmane Dembélé, Gonçalo Ramos, and Vitinha getting the goals. And Paris Saint-Germain advanced into the quarterfinals of the Champions League, one step away from semi-final that we were in last season. And we were set to face Aston Villa, another Premier League team. And that was definitely, the round where I was like, yeah, I mean, we can try having fun, having discussions about Villa and everything, but I knew Paris Saint-Germain were going to win it. Villa came to the park, defended extremely well, got an early goal from a Nuno Mendes mistake, but then Paris Saint-Germain showed why, the individual quality. In some games we show, the system, the unity of the team, how good we are, but that game, it was the individual quality. Desiree Doué is scoring an absolute banger, a peach of a goal. Khvicha Kvaratskhelia from a beautiful counter-attack, but even a more beautiful goal from Khvicha Kvaratskhelia in that game. And then the icing on the cake on the icing, then boost to Nuno, 3-1. And it was tie over. We went to Villa Park. We were expecting a tough 15 to 20 minutes. But no, it was a tough 15 to 20 minutes for Aston Villa because Paris Saint-Germain were already up 2-0, 5-1 up across both legs. And I said, wow, all the Villa fans came to the stadium and the game was already over. But the Villa players gave their all. Paris Saint-Germain players became way too complacent. Villa nearly came back into the game, but it was never a doubt. As soon as Villa got, one goal shy of, equaling the two ties, PSG shut the door and Villa were nowhere to be seen. Going into the semi-final, another English team in Arsenal FC, and I was really confident that we were going to win the UCL, and I only saw Arsenal as a team on the way. I thought they would give us potential problems. It's not problems, but how good they were defensively was going to be hard for us to create some chances. So on, we go to the Emirates and we do the magico, just like we did versus Liverpool, and Ousmane Dembélé, the master, once again, beautiful beautiful goal, absolutely majestic goal. We get the 1-0, go to the park. We know about the game at the park. Those first 20 minutes, it was hectic. And then Fabian Ruiz steps up. Big game player. 1-0. Game was basically over. 2-0. No, penalty. Vitina missed it. 2-0. Hakimi. Khalas. Pack your bags. Arsenal tried to make it interesting towards the end with... Marquinhos tried to make it interesting. But we get the dubs can go into the Champions League final. And we saw Inter have that tie with Barca. And everyone was like, this is going to be like, a 50-50 final and everything. But that's when PSG were like, no. We're not the best team in the world. We're clearly the best team in the world. Slapping up Inter Milan 5-0. Becoming the biggest humiliation in footballing history. People talk about 7-1 Germany, Brazil. No, this is way bigger of a humiliation. Way bigger. Because the disparity between the two teams was bigger before the game, obviously. After the game, everyone called Inter shit and everything. But, Brazil were coming into that Germany game without their two best players in Neymar Jr. and Thiago Silva. Well, Inter Milan didn't have any excuses like that. And it was a Champions League final, not a World Cup semi-final. Semi-final, yeah. Or quarterfinal. I don't know, I don't care. But we did it. And we won our club's first ever Champions League. Surreal moment. Me and myself had a 24-hour live stream to celebrate that beautiful achievement. And what a moment it was, man. It felt so special, I've been supporting this club ever since 2012, and all the other PSG sports have supported this club for so long, and we've gone through so many ups and downs in the UCL, so many heartbreaks, but we finally did it. Proud of the players, proud of Luis Enrique, Luis Campos, Nasser Khalifi, and everyone that put in effort and energy into Paris Saint-Germain getting that success. And then came the Club World Cup. And I've been hyping up the Club World Cup for a very long time. I wanted to win it. And after we won the UCL, I was like, let's get the double, baby. Starts off the Club World Cup, Atletico Madrid 4-0. We're like, oh my God, we're so good. Then comes the Botafogo game, humbles us a bit. Comes the Seattle game, we get the 3 points we need to go through as first place as well. And then we have Inter Miami, smack Pessy up. Then we have Bayern München. And I've said it before, alongside, obviously, the Chelsea game. But before the Chelsea game in the final, I was like, Liverpool and Bayern were the two toughest competitors. They gave us a really tough game, made it really hard for us with their press. And they were really good with the ball, but they barely created any chances, whilst we had many openings against them. And it was never a doubt. The Ziri golden boy gets the goal, goes into extra time, and goes into additional time with PSG having 2 red cards, and then Dembele steps up and gets the goal. And we go into the semi-final of the Club World Cup versus Real Madrid. Kylian Mbappé, this time he did not run away. He was basically doing absolutely nothing on the pitch, with PSG absolutely obliterating Real Madrid, giving them a 4-0 defeat in the Club World Cup semi-final, sending them packing home. It was a beautiful performance from Paris Saint-Germain. Unfortunately, after that was the Club World Cup final, where we suffered our biggest and most humiliating defeat of all time. 3-0 versus Chelsea. Whenever I've said this, the most insecure people, can you guess who they are? It's been a common theme on this channel. It's Barca fans. I say, yeah, 3-0, that's the biggest humiliation. And it's not PSG fans saying, no, I think it's this game. No, it's Barca fans being insecure. They're like, no, it's a 6-1 we gave you. First of all, that was a round of 16 game. That was not Club World Cup. Second of all, that team included Lionel Messi, Neymar Jr., Luis Suarez, not Cole Palmer, Joao Pedro, and Pedro Neto. And third of all, that game was filled with referee controversial decisions, including the insane Suarez dive. Whilst the Chelsea one, that was a clean 3-0 sweep of us. Still embarrassing, but I've accepted it. I moved on from it. And that finishes off with a full season review. It's the best season in our history. It should be at least a top 10 season of all time for a club. Reaching the Club World Cup final, winning the Champions League, domestic treble, and obviously the UEFA Super Cup and Intercontinental Cup, that's going to be part of next season. It's still the same calendar year, but this is the full season review, the 2024-2025, and what a season it was. Could have been better, obviously, if we won the Club World Cup. Would have become the first team to actually win 5 trophies in one season, I believe. Both the Barca and Bayern 6-2 teams did not win 5 in one season, but they did win 6 in a calendar year, including the UEFA Super Cup and the Intercontinental Club World Cup. And this season, I mean, I have to give it a 9 minus 1 because of the Club World Cup defeat. If we had lost like 3-2, I would have given it a 9.5, but because it was a 3-0, I'm gonna give it a 1 minus. So I'll give this season a 9 out of 10. I couldn't wish for more. I could have wished for more. I was wishing for more. We got a little bit greedy maybe. First Champions League, like if you told me we get our first Champions League, I was like, I don't know. But that's the thing. We gotta keep the mentality, because what's time from now? It's not celebrating about the past. I've seen a lot of people talk about the Champions League and so on. No, next Champions League. Let's become the first team to do 2 in a row, apart from Real Madrid, since 1992. Since the inception of the Champions League. That's my aim going into next season. Winning everything in France as we do always, and winning the Champions League once again. That's my expectations. That's how I'm going to go into next season. Not expectations, but I want from this team. Especially after that Club World Cup humiliating defeats. But obviously when it comes to like, what I would be mad at is if we do not reach the Champions League semi-final. I think that should be the pinnacle of a big team, reaching consistent Champions League semi-finals like Real Madrid did for a long time. That's obviously going to be the objective. But yeah, it was a beautiful season, seeing Marquinhos lift the Champions League trophy, Nasser Khalifi, all the youngsters and everyone. It was a special season. It was special following Paris Saint-Germain throughout this entire season, from the Girona game in the UCL to the Inter final, then the Club World Cup, the league games, the Coupe de France. It was truly a special season. But another special season is coming up. We have to be hungry. We cannot be complacent. This season is over, but the next season is about to start. That's been from boy PS Gent. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed the full season review of the 2023, 2024, 2025 season. That's been it from boy PS Gent. And as usual,